I love you.
Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes for a brand new playlist. Woo! Woo! I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon, a experiment gone wrong. And All right. It depends how you take your pudding. This is a podcast about movies and TV. And it's called Green and Faceless on the Couch. We're starting a new playlist. I'm pretty excited.
We're starting a new playlist. Yeah. I'm very exciid.
Yeah.
That playlist is Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
The great invention of Hayao Miyazaki and somebody else whose name I sadly always forget.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm trying to find it.
I only have Nausicaä stuff brought up.
Oh, God. I'm being canceled everywhere. There's actually way many people. I thought there was only another person.
He wrote this one and a lot of other movies.
And this one's technically not a Studio Ghibli movie.
But it is considered widely as one, as the start.
Yeah.
It just technically happened before the company was founded.
Exactly. It's still a spiritual project.
Yes.
And we wanted to include it because it's fucking beautiful.
It could honestly be called the Miyazaki playlist. And then...
almost, yeah.
Almost.
I mean...
I'm sure there's going to be some variant in there.
There's quite a few variants in there.
Yes.
But like, he did the first two, definitely.
This movie is very good, and how could we not start here? You know, like, I know, right? Yeah, this movie is one of my favorites of what I consider the portfolio of Studio Ghibli. I really like the message, just to say up front, and also the world building is pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I never watched Studio Ghibli until college. Maybe I shouldn't say their name. Well, I guess first names are fine, you know.
Or maybe. Just change them. And nicknames also. Like, we had nicknames for everybody. Yeah,
I'll cut out his first name. It was Batman, and
oh god.
I don't remember who was with Batman. I don't remember all of our nicknames for everybody anymore. It's been so long.
You know, we'll call the one the singer.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
I'm not sure that he actually picked up any like long-term nickname.
I know, right? That's what I was like. I was getting stuck on him alone, but like they were the key ones that introduced me to the Studio Ghibli world. Many nights where we would just go over to their house and have anime nights. Yes. Where typically we just ended up watching a Studio Ghibli film or other ridiculous,
we watched
trippy...
the evangelical Neon
Genesis and Evangelical or whatever.
Yeah, those words not in that order, I'm sure.
Without the whatever.
We watched the movie. Yeah, we watched those movies, but not the series. Like, we watched the movies that like basically summarize the series, apparently. But it was so fast paced that I was we're 5 minutes in here and I'm about to put my career on the line. We were pretty stoned and it's hard to follow.
It was college, man. What do you want from us?
Even most of these movies were hard to follow in that state.
Oh, yeah. Literally, Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind was one of those movies that, as I was rewatching it this time, I had to watch it twice. I watched the
because it's
subtitle
so nice.
Version. It's very beautiful, but mainly because I watched it in Japanese first and felt like I missed a lot because I was trying to read it, and I was like, after a while, I was like, man, I just want to watch this. Like, I'm spending too much time trying to read all the dialogue. which isn't a big deal because normally I like to do that. Like normally I have subtitles on in general just because I'm mostly deaf and ADHD.
Right.
But when I can't hear it at the same time, I can't hear a language that I know. It really felt like I was missing something. So I had to rewatch this with the dubbed version. But like as I was watching it, it was just like there's so many moments, so many like things that happened on screen, not story elements, but just visuals that I was just like, yep, I remember this. I remember this back in college.
Yeah.
I remember being blown away by this moment.
Right.
Like it has a lot of those like goosebumpy, spine tingling moments.
Definitely. I think the first time I watched this one was in the same place. But it was not my first foray into
no, yeah.
I had seen
I don't think it was mine either.
I had seen My Neighbor Totoro.
That's fair.
But I did not remember it, and I had seen several times Spirited Away.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's maybe a couple other ones that I watched. I think I probably
Princess
watched
Mononoke.
A lot of them rank up really high in my list of favorite movies. And it's not because of the situation, the circumstance that I was in when I watched them. It is because...
That certainly helps,
though.
It
doesn't hurt.
Specifically being surrounded by friends. Being surrounded by friends, specifically. That helps a lot because it's
everybody
completely different.
Being wowed by the same thing is great. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does create a nice moment, which certainly helps.
I also very much love watching these movies all on my lonesome because you just get enveloped in them. The art is so good always, even in this, the oldest of their films. That's not even made by the company. The art is so awesome. Like just the detail. Yeah, the magic of it too. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump in to a synopsis of Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind.
Of the Wind.
I think I stumbled, but that's what I was trying to say.
No, I was just going with you because I love that. I have a specific issue with this movie, which is the double use of the. I can't stand when there's repetition like that so close together, and it's not used for alliteration.
Right.
It just this title is hard for me. Nausicaä,
but it's also called Kaze no Tani no Nausicaä. And I know I didn't pronounce it right.
Nausicaä,
yeah. So, and to be fair, I think that is a direct translation, but it sounds nicer, looks nicer in the Japanese.
It sounds so much more beautiful
than it does translated.
It really does. Even looking at the, I can't remember what the written word is called.
Cuneiform? No, kanji. It might be kanji.
No, I was thinking kanji because that's what I was thinking was kanji.
Yes, it is kanji.
Ooh. Oh, okay. I just I looked up kanji and I saw Chinese ideographic symbols. I'm like, but no, it's you're right.
Okay, well, speaking of the title, interesting fun fact: when the movie came out in Japan, a company called Manson International took and edited the film for international use, and the title of that movie. I had it here just a second ago. Excuse me. Was Warriors of the Wind. Very 80s. And apparently it was very bad.
Just sounds wrong.
And I mean, this is a very good movie. So luckily, when Disney was releasing all these other Studio Ghibli movies, they also did this with a whole new voice cast including some pretty big names that, that's right. So, I mean, that can just lead into our synopsis here. Like, we start out with Lord Yupa just searching through this toxic wasteland. It is a post-apocalyptic fantasy, and it is based off of a manga that Miyazaki wrote as well. But
yeah, it's after like a nuclear war. Well, not really a nuclear war, but like it was after like something had laid waste to an ecocide is what they call it.
Yeah,
the ground is like
they
not
call
fertile,
it
it's a toxic
the
jungle.
7 days of fire. In the
English that's right. That's anyways. So awesome.
And yeah, it's a very ominous sounding name. And what happened was, there was a big, huge war, and they released what they call Guardians, I believe, and giant warriors that basically just burnt the whole goddamn earth. And when things came back, it was all mostly fungal and releasing toxic spores constantly. So in this toxic jungle just keeps on spreading over these 1,000 years, and humans are really on the brink of extinction. Patrick Stewart, who is voicing Lord Yupa. Lord Yupa,
Goro Naya in the subtitle Japanese version. Since I had to watch that one too.
Yeah, are you planning on doing that for all of them? I'm just curious.
I'll try to remember to do that. That way we can give them all the credit. Unless it gets annoying. No offense. I'm sure that and I will also say acting is wonderful. It's just it's really hard to keep up. It's pretty good
with the subtitles for me.
Right. I mean, I love the Japanese language. Yeah. It's so beautiful to listen to. But it was really that was my only problem, was that I was in a after work stressed state. And my brain was just like, I can't read. I need to just veg and, soak this up. I can't, so after I watched the whole thing, though. I did watch all 2 hours or whatever of this movie. It's only an hour and a half. But still.
It's 2 hours. Yeah.
No, it is 2 hours. It was 2 hours.
Yeah. And that's probably why Manson International cut it down. Anyhow, Lord Yupa, he's going around to different villages trying to, he's just like checking in, if I recall. Oh, he's searching for something to help them with the jungle. Meanwhile, Nausicaä is out in the jungle, adventuring, learning, because she's a scholar knight. That's how I'll describe Nausicaä. In the English version, it's Alison Lohman who voices Nausicaä.
Yes, in Japanese, it's Sumi Shimamoto.
And she has to actually save Lord Yupa from an ohm, which is a giant insect, like one of those segmented armor insects that,
a carapace or something like that.
Trilobite. That's right.
Trilobite.
Then they kind of just accordion along the ground. But this is like if a tank had a fortress built on top of it, and if the tank was also 5 times longer than a tank. But anyways,
we also get a good feeling of Nausicaa's personality, her character. Because most people that you discover, really, when they're faced with an ohm, are just kill it or get the fuck away from it.
Get away, yeah.
She calms them down. She pulls out a bull roarer thing?
They called it. Yupa called it a insect charm, and most of the life, by the way, is insects now. That because they're the only thing that can survive in the jungle.
Yeah, the toxic jungle. The names in this are so beautiful. So well done.
The other animals that still survive that have evolved from what was left are really interesting too. Like you get a fox squirrel by the name of Tito that becomes her little friend later in this opening scene after she saves Lord Yupa. And Lord Yupa's like her uncle. I don't know if that's ever explicitly said, but he does look like her father.
And like he
is the sword master of the Valley of the Wind.
Yeah.
So let me collect my thoughts for a second. So he looks like the animation for this guy looks almost exactly like her father, who is the king. Who they don't say just okay, King Jill, I guess. Yes, that's right. It's King Jill. But that's King I recall Jill. Them saying that out loud on the film, and I was like, okay. But you know, whatever. And that's Mark Silverman in the English, fairly small role. And he's very sick from adventuring out into the jungle and stuff. And so Nausicaä kind of has been the leader of the people, but I don't think she quite recognizes how much of the responsibility she's taken on. But like these people very much depend on Nausicaä, and it's really beautiful to see once her and Yupa get back to the town how that's the case. And these people are very peaceful people, and they're just doing their best to keep as clean of a land as they can from the toxic jungle. And they feel they're afraid of the toxic jungle, but Nausicaä feels like the only real way to fight against it is to learn as much about it as you can. And I think that's a really interesting character, part of her character.
It really makes it for a good leader too, because she's very patient. She's patient until lo and behold somebody comes along. Those somebodies are the kingdom of Tolmekia. They're flying overhead, just a cargo aircraft, and it gets crashed by some ohm. And
this is like there's like some flying insects. I don't remember what they called them, but yeah, it's like this big airship, and like you've seen some technology so far that's like advanced but different than ours. This is like the biggest thing you see so far in the movie, and it is it is ginormous. It is like a cruise ship in the air. And I love the Tolmekians' ships and stuff. They're all cool, I think.
They really are.
The Valley people, their stuff is more like sleek looking though.
And then within this big old cargo ship, she finds the princess. Yes, I can't remember her name.
I believe it is Listel.
I'm trying to find it. Yes,
Listel.
Listel. There's a T in there. Oops. Listel.
Emily Barr.
And Listel tells her...
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Emily Barr plays her.
Sorry, she's not listed on my cast
list. It
is
Miina Tominaga.
Oh, there it is, actually.
And the characters has a different name, too. Some of the characters have the same name. Yeah.
Rasuteru.
Which I like better than Listel. Listel works for the character, I think.
But like, and she's dying. I think she was a prisoner on the ship or something like that.
She was a hostage from a different
before
country.
She dies,
she's from Pajit.
Yeah. Pajit. Yeah, before she dies, though, she tells Nausicaä to destroy what's in the cargo. And Nausicaä goes. I don't remember if Nausicaä goes to see the cargo, but they were transporting.
They were transporting one of them giant warriors. So the Pajit had the warriors, and the Tolmekians wanted it and took it. And
because these things they are weapons of mass destruction. They destroyed the world.
It has to be like regrown. So enters the rest of the Tolmekians, because everybody on that ship died. And The rest of the Telmekians, I'm trying to remember the characters.
There's Princess Kushana.
Thank you. Who is played by Uma Thurman, excuse me. Uma Thurman.
Yes. Yoshiko Sakakibara. Yoshiko Sakakibara.
That's so I'd never knew.
That's an awesome fucking name is what that is.
I do like this character.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying.
There was more to this character in the movie, and perhaps in the manga there is. But she is very interesting.
Maybe.
She's been sent out by her king, who I am guessing has some relationship to her, and she is pretty far from home in this valley, and she's really thinking to herself, maybe I'll just start my own country here. We have the Guardian. Why not? And, you know, it felt like a very European medieval thing to do. Yeah, it fits really well in this world. And she is she with Kurotoa? Is that the captain she's with?
I'm honestly not sure.
I think so.
I don't remember.
That's Chris Sanderson though. And Sarandon, thank you. God damn it. Christopher Sarandon. And
Jack Skellington.
Yeah, he says that he after she disappears a little bit later, he's like, whoa, you've put some ambition back into this lazy old soldier. And he's like, loves talking to this Guardian, like as it's growing in this weird sack thing. It's so weird. There's just so much weird stuff in these shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're I don't know what they're doing to make it grow, but it's weird, and it's making the jungle very angry. Meanwhile, Kushana brings Nausicaä and some other people, including Goal, played by Frank Welker, as hostages to, I don't remember where they're going actually, but
it's after they kill Nausicaa's father too.
They did kill Kurotoa, I think, is who killed King Jill.
Yeah, and that's when you get like a really great moment with Nausicaä, because it's just like, again, you've just seen peaceful, in charge. Right. You know, she's kind of laid back. She lets, she reacts as opposed to, making the first move kind of thing. But when she finds her father dead, oh my God, she blows up, and it's really cool to watch, because that's when you get to see a lot of her skill.
Is really cool, and Yupa has to stop her, and he does so by catching her arm with his ceramic sword. Another thing that I thought was cool, the swords are made either out of ceramic or out of ohm shell.
Yeah. It's really cool. And I really and doesn't it cut him too? Because he has to when he stops it.
He catches it with his arm. He doesn't stab her, that's right.
Yeah.
He catches her sword with his arm, which is badass. It's more badass than stabbing a young girl. Which is how I remembered it for some reason. So they go...
Yeah, that's how they found themselves in being captured by Kushana.
That's right. But I don't remember why they leave the valley. What the point of that journey was. But they do.
That's the sad thing, is there's a lot to this story. Right. So it does kind of some things do fade.
And it's like we said, it's
it was because she wanted to save that the pilot, right?
Yes. Asbel.
Asbel, yes.
So Asbel is another, he's another Pajit citizen, or royalty, I guess. And he's voiced by Shia LaBeouf. And he also is supposed to be the main love interest. That's another thing about this movie, is like, this love interest thing does not make sense to me.
No, I don't
but
like it.
I can very
in the Japanese
easily
version,
ignore
it's
it.
Yoji Matsuda.
And that's another thing that might be more fleshed out in the manga as well. Who knows?
Maybe
I'll read it someday. Nausicaä, though, has to basically save Kushana and everyone else because Kushana has no respect for the toxic jungle and has no idea how to interact safely with the insects. And so
she wants to get rid of it. Like, she just wants to destroy the toxic jungle, and then
she does.
Like, Nausicaä is basically just like, no, there is beauty within it. Like, this is a home. This is an environment now.
Shortly after, her and Asbel actually find out, and yes, this is maybe a bit of a spoiler, but they find out that the plants. Well, actually, this is something Nausicaä knew early on. The plants aren't.
She was working on it.
Yeah, the plants are not themselves toxic. It is the soil. The soil is toxic from the wars. And so when it produces spores, they're toxic. Spores and fruit, they're toxic. And so it's polluting the air, but it's only because the soil is polluted. And they find out that this process is actually cleaning the earth and that there is this whole other ecosystem below the toxic jungle that is like a clean place beautiful. And it is very pretty. And that is
it's really awesome message overall.
Yes.
It's just like I mean, it works on so many different levels and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's a fucking great story. It really is.
Right. It's like,
and there's a lot more to it. There's a whole
nature.
third act.
It speaks to, there is a lot more, and we're not going to get into it. I don't think. Like, there's a whole war and shit. But and Nausicaä is a badass in it.
However, there's a prophecy that I do want to talk to be fulfilled.
A little bit more about the message. Yeah, there is a prophecy too, which is very obvious. From the very beginning.
I like its reveal though. Like I mean, like yes, it's obvious who is the fulfiller of the prophecy. It's very obvious,
right?
But like how it comes to be is like such a great moment because it's just like there's colors involved. I will say in the prophecy. There's some along the lines of like. There'll be a savior in blue walking through a field of gold. Mm-hmm. And then, like, what is the blue and what is the gold when it happens? It's just like, this is not at all what you were imagining to be the solution.
Right.
It's really well done.
It is pretty well done. I will give it that. I gotta say, on this watch through, I was a little confused at first because I didn't actually miss the moment where the color changes, I'll say.
Right.
But I also just thought it was a continuity error. And then I remembered, no, it's intentional. Okay.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk a little bit more about like just the themes and the message of this movie, because it's really part of why I love it so much. Is like, so the Telemechians, like, they want to just destroy this forest because it is in the way of their progress. And, like, that speaks to today of, like, deforestation and stuff like that. And I just love everything this movie has to say. Like, there's another part where, like, no, you have to let nature do its thing so that we can all live, And just so much of on that note, and like learning things, compassion, understanding. There's just so many good things wrapped up into this movie. And I guess I'm doing closing statements. I said I wanted to talk about it, but then I just blurted out my opinion.
Well, I mean, I'll bounce off of it by saying that like it's really sad that this movie came out in 1984, and it's just like with all of these messages about anti-war and protecting the environment and everything. Look where we're at now, pretty much 40 years later, almost 40 years later. And it's just like we're just getting worse and worse, and we're not heeding the advice of
towards making those guardians, and
we're getting there.
We're getting there.
this is still a possible future. Sad to say. Like, we're already making the world its own toxic jungle.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot to say about it, about the messages of this movie and about how we just kind of absorb it and move on, ignore it all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard though, as like on the individual level, because there's no support on the macro level to do it
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because like I recycle. I try to limit my footprint as much as possible. Obviously, I still drive a gas guzzling car, which sucks, but like I can't afford anything to switch it right now. Yeah. But like on a personal level, we can do as much as we want. We can spread the word. Hey, everybody, recycle. Don't you try to love the environment. Don't throw your trash out, but it's not gonna do anything if the fucking government ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah, I mean, our recycling centers are a joke. They do not do the work.
No. They just pump them out into the ocean, just make massive piles of landfill.
Yeah, and if you live in a country that's actually like come up with solutions for this shit, good for you guys. I don't know that is the case in the majority, but yeah, if you're out there and can, please help America. We need
and just help us. We need so much help. This country's messed up.
Okay, I am going to do my closing statements. Like I said before, this is one of my favorites of the whole, kit canon caboodle that we consider Studio Ghibli, and I count a lot of those films pretty high up in my list of favorite films. This gets a face and a half. It is just so poignant. That's the big part of it for me. The story is great too. There is a lot of elements that I feel like were added and maybe the movie could have been richer if it didn't actually have it, like Asbel, and if Asbel wasn't there, maybe they could flesh out Kushana more, that is. However, that being said, it's based on a book. It was written by the same man who made the book, so he got to adapt it the way that he wanted to, and I respect that, and I want to read the book now that I know that it's out there, and go forth and watch it.
Yeah. Go forth. I'm going to say, this is going to seem a little controversial to what we've talked about the entire fucking episode. I'm giving it 3.5.
Okay.
It definitely seems like I should be giving it a 4, but there's a lot about this movie that I forget. There's a lot of moments where I'm just mesmerized by the art and not paying attention to the story, which shouldn't be an issue except for the fact that it is, because there's probably a solid 30 minutes of this movie that could just be chopped because nothing really happens. And
that might be true.
And 2 hours, like, it doesn't seem that long because it's an animation, and like, I'm kind of just lost in the beauty of art and enjoying it, but it really did, especially since I watched it twice, which is another thing. Again, to get the perfect 4-star rating from me, it's got to be very rewatchable. Even though I watched it twice out of necessity, not out of want. Right. Like, I love the beauty of the art, of the artwork and everything. Like, the anime is gorgeous. It's very magical, and like I love everything about it. And the messages are all good. But there's just something to say about that story and how I'm just like,
sure.
There's a lot of moments where I'm just like, I'm wandering and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on now. Like, people are pissed, but like, that's just the world.
If I may rank a recommendation for our next installment, if you do plan to watch both versions, maybe do the English first.
Yeah.
But maybe do the English first and then decide if you want to hear the Japanese.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was more along the lines of just that, a long time ago, you gifted me a DVD set that had a lot of the Studio Ghibli films, and they're all in the original sub or Japanese version. And I was just like, I mean, I own it. I might as well use this. So I popped it in and watched it. But then I was just like, oh, I looked it up online. I was like, oh, they're actually on HBO Max. I might as well just watch the English version just so I know what the fuck I watched.
Right.
Because I got lost in subtitle world and I was tired afterwards.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of work, especially for 2 hours.
I know. But no, I will from here on out be watching just the English version.
Okay. Okay.
No offense to the Japanese and their beautiful language, because I do love.
We just don't
watching.
We just don't speak Japanese or hear it.
No.
As a language.
I would love to, but I'm also too stupid to learn a language anymore. I kind of want to try to get back into it and start, but I'm like I'm steeped in so many projects and so many other shit. That like to add another ADHD project would just be stupid at this point. Like
you might like
that's all it would be.
Duolingo. Have you ever heard?
I know, right? I've thought about it, but that again, I feel like it's just another ADHD project.
I tried it out with Spanish, and I do think I was getting a little bit stronger, and then I dropped off a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what would happen. It would just be an ADHD fad. You know, it'd be something that I'd be like, I'm good at this. And then I would go to another language and be like, I know 10 languages. But in reality, I only know one.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's been the show. Oh, before I forgot one last person so we'll end on him because it's fucking phenomenal. And we'll call that it. I wanted to recognize the music by Joe Hisaishi. I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sure. The music is fucking awesome. Incredible. It's so beautiful. Like, matched with the artwork, that's why you get lost. That's why you really do just get mesmerized by this film, is just because the music and what's on screen is connecting so well. Like, to compare it to something modern, it's like, I know you haven't seen it yet, but Across the Spider-Verse, I can't remember who the composer was for Across the Pemberton, David Pemberton, I think. He matches what's happening on screen so fucking well.
Oh yeah,
like there's so many action scenes where the musical cues are lining up with the action, and it's just like everything's clicking so well. That's this movie too. That's Nausicaä, the Valley of the Wind. Joe Hisaishi's music is incredible. So I'm happy I remembered to include him right here at the end, because
that's good. Did we mention that Frank Welker was in the movie?
Yeah, you did. Okay. we didn't mention that Mark Hamill was in it.
Oh, Mark Hamill is also in the English part of the movie. He's the mayor of Pejite, which
yes.
I don't know if that means that Asbel's parents are not in charge of Pejite. I don't know.
I have no idea. Asbel's mom was Jodie Benson. Ariel, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
It might be, yeah, Ariel. Yep.
And Tony J was the narrator, Cloud Frollo. Didn't even fucking know that. Oh, this movie. It's amazing. Go watch it. That's been the show. Thanks for tuning in. We love you, Captains. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leone. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.